In a world obsessed with fame, flashing lights, and constant applause, a rare few black actors walked away from it all, not because they stumbled, but because they were pulled toward something far greater. These were stars at their peak, adored by millions, with careers most could only dream of. Yet they chose faith over fortune, purpose over popularity, and God over the glitter of Hollywood itself. Their decisions shocked fans, moved entire communities, and revealed a side of celebrity we almost never see: the spiritual, vulnerable, deeply human side. Today, we dive into the powerful, emotional journeys of the actors who stepped out of the spotlight to answer a higher calling. Ready to feel every moment? Let's begin. Chris Tucker. Most people remember him as the lightning-fast comedian with the high-pitched voice who stole every scene in Rush Hour. He was Hollywood's unstoppable force, funny, electric, and on top of the world. But behind all that fame, something unexpected was happening. In the early 2000s, right at the peak of his success, Chris made a decision that stunned the entire industry. A lifelong Christian, he found his faith growing stronger, and suddenly the roles that once made him famous didn't sit right anymore. The real turning point came when studios offered him millions to reprise his iconic character Smokey from Friday. But Smokey was tied to drugs, profanity, and a lifestyle Chris no longer wanted to represent. Imagine turning down a fortune most actors would fight for. Chris didn't hesitate, he said no. Not because he didn't love the character, but because he loved his values more. And then he made an even bigger move. Chris walked away from Hollywood completely. He packed his bags, left the spotlight, and returned home to Georgia. He said the industry was full of negativity and he needed to rebuild his life around something real, around God. Since then, Chris Tucker has chosen a different path. He only takes roles that align with his beliefs. When he steps on stage for a comedy show, it's clean, respectful, and true to who he is now. No more edgy jokes. No more language he's not proud of. Does he miss the fame? Maybe. But if you listen to him today, you'll hear a man at peace. A man who believes every choice he makes, every movie, every joke, every step, is guided by faith, not Hollywood. Chris Tucker didn't just change his career. He changed his life. Demond Wilson. Most people remember him as Lamont from the legendary sitcom Sanford and Son, the young, sharp-tongued son who made America laugh for years. At his peak, Demond was earning a jaw-dropping $40,000 a week in the early 1980s. Adjust that for today, and you're talking well over six figures every single week. He had the fame, the money, the Hollywood lifestyle, and a mansion in Beverly Hills to prove it. But behind the camera, Demond was breaking. Success came with shadows. He developed a serious drug addiction, and his personal life started to crumble under the weight of fame, pressure, and temptation. Then, at the height of everything he had worked for, something unbelievable happened. Demond felt a divine pull, a calling stronger than Hollywood itself. And he answered it. Not halfway. Not slowly. Completely. Demond sold his Beverly Hills mansion, walked away from his massive TV paychecks, and quit acting altogether. He beat his addiction, found a new purpose, and stepped into the world as a minister. Not a celebrity preacher, not a part-time speaker, a full-on traveling evangelist going from church to church, sharing his story of redemption and faith. For decades, Demond Wilson dedicated his life to ministry. He wrote books, delivered powerful sermons, helped struggling families, and guided others out of the darkness he once knew so well. People would ask him if he missed Hollywood, and he'd smile and say, "I have no desire to act again." And he meant it. While other stars from his era chased comebacks, Demond was perfectly content pastoring churches, serving communities, and doing charity work. He made a few rare TV appearances over the years, but his heart never returned to the spotlight. Demond Wilson didn't just walk away from Hollywood. He walked toward a completely new life and never once looked back. Denise "Vanity" Matthews lived one of the most astonishing transformations Hollywood has ever seen. In the 1980s, she wasn't just famous, she was electric. As Prince's protege and the face of Vanity 6, she had the spotlight, the sensual image, the screaming crowds, and the kind of glamorous life most people only dream about. But behind the glitter, behind the stage lights, Denise was quietly falling apart. The fame that made her iconic was the same force pushing her toward destruction. Drugs had become her escape, then her prison, and the Hollywood party scene that looked so dazzling from afar was slowly killing her from within. Everything changed in 1994. After a near-fatal overdose, Denise found herself in a hospital bed, staring down death. And in that moment, broken, scared, and stripped of everything but truth, she experienced a spiritual awakening. What she did next shocked the entertainment world. Denise didn't just get clean, she walked away from fame entirely. She left Hollywood, abandoned the vanity persona, and reclaimed her real name, Denise Matthews. No more stage lights. No more cameras. No more chasing an image she no longer recognized. Instead, she dedicated the rest of her life to God. She became an evangelist, traveling from church to church, sharing her testimony with raw honesty. She spoke openly about her past, the loneliness, the addiction, the emptiness behind the glamour. And she used her story to lift others out of the same darkness she once lived in. She wrote a memoir, poured her life into ministry, and never looked back at Hollywood's seductive glow. When she passed away in 2016, people didn't remember her for the scandals or the outfits or the nightlife. They remembered her for her redemption, her faith, and her courage to rebuild her life from the ashes. Denise Matthews didn't just escape her past. She transformed it into a beacon for others searching for hope. C.C. Michaela was on the rise, one of the bright, memorable faces on one of the biggest TV shows of the early 2000s, Girlfriends. Every week, millions tuned in to watch her bring Yvonne to life, and for a young actress in Hollywood, it seemed like the dream was finally unfolding. Fame, opportunity, momentum, she had it all. But behind the scenes, something much deeper was happening. As CC's relationship with God grew stronger, the scripts in her hands started to feel heavier. Storylines that once seemed harmless began to conflict with her Christian values, and she found herself torn between a skyrocketing career and a calling she couldn't ignore. The turning point came on an ordinary day at Paramount Studios. She was handed a script with a scene she felt crossed a line, something she simply couldn't do with a clear conscience. As she read it, she felt a powerful tug on her heart, a voice telling her it was time to choose, her faith or her career. What she did next stunned everyone. Right there on set, CC quietly told the producers she couldn't continue. No drama. No anger. Just conviction. She gathered her things, walked off the Paramount lot, and never looked back. Imagine the shock, an actress leaving a hit show, in the prime of her success, because her faith meant more than fame. Many thought she had lost her mind. But CC knew she had finally found her purpose. She didn't just leave the show, she walked away from Hollywood altogether. Stepping boldly into ministry, she founded the God's Girl Network and later launched a Christian-based wellness and lifestyle brand. For more than 2 decades now, CC Michaela has stayed far from the entertainment spotlight, choosing instead to travel the country as a speaker, mentor, and teacher, inspiring young women with her story of faith, courage, and unwavering conviction. Clifton Davis wasn't just another familiar face on television in the 1970s. He was the man with the unforgettable smile, the easy charm, and the star power that lit up shows like That's My Mama and Amen. But while the world saw a rising Hollywood favorite, Clifton was quietly living a life most fans never imagined. Here's what makes his journey remarkable. He didn't wait for fame to fade before answering his calling. Even at the height of his career, Clifton was splitting his days between bright studio lights and late-night theology books. TV star by day, minister in training by night. While other actors were out enjoying Hollywood nightlife, Clifton was writing papers, sitting through lectures, and earning advanced degrees in theology. That's dedication on a whole different level. By the early 1990s, the pull toward ministry had grown stronger than any script or spotlight. Clifton made a life-changing decision. He stepped back from regular acting and embraced his faith full-time. He became a pastor, first serving an interdenominational church before later joining the Seventh-day Adventist ministry. Today, Clifton Davis still appears on TV from time to time, but his heart is with his congregation, his gospel music work, and sharing messages of hope and faith. He traded red carpets for the pulpit, and he's never looked back. And if you think that transformation is surprising, just wait. Up next is a young actress who walked away from a superhero series at the very peak of her fame. Her reason will absolutely blow your mind. China Anne McClain's story stands out because she made a life-changing decision at an age when most young stars are chasing the spotlight, not walking away from it. You probably remember her from Disney Channel's A&T Farm or as the electrifying Jennifer Pierce, Lightning, on the CW's Black Lightning. She had what every young actor dreams of: hit shows, devoted fans, and a career that promised nothing but bigger stages. But in 2020, China stunned Hollywood when she revealed she was leaving Black Lightning after season 4. And it wasn't just about quitting a show, she was stepping away from acting entirely. Her reason? Her relationship with God. During the COVID-19 lockdown, while the world was restless and overwhelmed, China experienced something very different: a deep spiritual awakening. Isolated from Hollywood's noise, she began to question what truly mattered. Money, red carpets, none of it felt meaningful anymore. In a raw, emotional video message to her fans, China explained that she felt God calling her to a higher purpose. "I'm doing God's work now," she said with conviction, "and I'm not doing anything else." She didn't just say the words, she lived them. She walked away from the industry without hesitation, even saying she would give it all up, every paycheck, every follower, every opportunity, if that's what obedience to God required. Imagine a young star choosing faith over fame in a world obsessed with likes and celebrity status. But China did exactly that. Since leaving Hollywood, she's devoted herself to creating Christian content, spreading spiritual messages, and quietly serving through ministry. She's hinted at faith-based projects, but one thing is crystal clear: China Anne McClain isn't chasing stardom anymore. She's chasing purpose, her purpose, and she believes wholeheartedly that it comes from God. Montel Jordan, the man who gave the world the unforgettable 90s anthem, "This Is How We Do It," took one of the most surprising turns in music history. At the peak of his fame, Montel was living every artist's dream. Platinum records, packed arenas, non-stop radio play. His voice was the soundtrack to every club, every house party, every Friday night across America. But success can be loud, and the soul can grow quiet. By the late 2000s, Montel's career had slowed down. And in that stillness, something unexpected happened. He felt a pull he couldn't ignore. Montel says God spoke to him in a way he had never experienced before, telling him to step away from the very life that made him famous. Not just slow down, retire. Walk away completely. Most people would have fought it, tried for one more hit, one more comeback. But Montel didn't hesitate. He and his wife, Kristen, joined Victory World Church in Atlanta, where he soon accepted a role as a worship leader. And this wasn't a part-time passion project. This was a full transformation. Montel didn't keep one foot in Hollywood. He closed the door behind him and walked boldly into ministry. The same man who once electrified crowds with "This Is How We Do It" was now leading Sunday worship, helping people connect with God instead of the dance floor. He even released a gospel album with the church's music team, trading bright spotlights for a deeper sense of purpose. Montel says his life has never been the same since he obeyed that call, and he doesn't miss the old fame, not for a second. For more than a decade now, he's stayed out of the entertainment chaos, appearing only in faith-based music and ministry events. A 90s icon who turned down superstardom to follow a higher calling. Kel Mitchell. If you grew up in the 90s, you know this name. Kel Mitchell wasn't just a Nickelodeon star, he was a whole era. As the goofy, lovable half of Kenan and Kel, he had millions of kids laughing so hard they could barely breathe. But behind the fun, behind the orange soda jokes and the bright lights, Kel's real life took a turn no one saw coming. When the cameras stopped rolling, the silence hit him hard. His career slowed, opportunities faded, and Kel slipped into a deep, crushing depression. The man who made the world smile was privately battling thoughts so dark that he almost didn't make it out. It's heartbreaking, and it shows how fame can hide the deepest pain. But Kel's story didn't end there. When he reached his lowest point, something powerful happened. He turned to God, and he says that moment literally saved his life. What followed wasn't just a comeback. It was a transformation. In 2019, Kel Mitchell became a licensed pastor. Yes, the same Kel who brought joy to our childhood now brings hope to people searching for purpose. He felt the calling during prayer, and he answered it with his whole heart. Today, Kel serves as a youth minister at Spirit Food Christian Center in California, working directly with teenagers. He shares his testimony, not as a celebrity, but as someone who found light in the darkest place. It's fitting, really. He's still guiding young people, but now he's helping them protect their spirits, not just their funny bones. For most of the 2000s and 2010s, Kel stepped away from Hollywood. No scandals, no headlines, just quiet devotion. He chose purpose over popularity, healing over fame. Recently, he's returned to entertainment with a few family-friendly projects, and fans are buzzing about a possible Good Burger reunion. But he's made one thing clear: God comes first. Kel Mitchell isn't the kid from Nickelodeon anymore. He's a husband, a father, a minister, a man who rebuilt his life through faith, and now uses his platform to inspire instead of just entertain. Kel's story proves that even when the spotlight fades, destiny doesn't. Ethel Waters. A name that once lit up every stage she touched. Ethel wasn't just a singer or an actress, she was a force of nature. A trailblazer. One of the earliest black women to conquer Broadway, Hollywood, and the jazz world all at once. With films like Pinky in 1949, she became only the second African American ever nominated for an Oscar, shattering barriers most people didn't even dare to approach. By the mid-1950s, Ethel had it all. She was performing in the hottest jazz clubs in America and was celebrated as one of the greatest voices of her generation. But everything changed in 1957, on one night that would reroute the entire course of her life. That year, Ethel attended a Billy Graham crusade in New York City. Thousands packed the stadium, and as Graham preached, something inside her shifted. The blues and jazz icon walked forward, rededicating her life to Jesus Christ. And from that moment on, nothing was the same. In a move that stunned Hollywood, Ethel quietly stepped away from the world of fame and cameras. She left behind the spotlight to devote herself fully to Christian ministry. For nearly 2 decades, she traveled the world with Billy Graham, singing gospel music and sharing her powerful testimony with millions. Her signature became the heartfelt hymn "His Eye is on the Sparrow," a song that brought grown men and women to tears when she performed it. Ethel never lost her humor about her dramatic transformation. She loved to joke that she went from singing about stormy weather to helping save souls. By the 1960s, while her former colleagues were still chasing roles in Hollywood, Ethel was on the road with the Graham Ministry, appearing on his televised crusades and spreading faith through music. She remained devoted to gospel work until her passing in 1977. In the end, Ethel Waters was remembered not just as a glamorous actress or a jazz sensation, but as a woman who surrendered everything for a higher calling. And we're not done yet. The final 5 stories on our countdown might just be the most unbelievable ones of all. Born Lawrence Turode is one of the most unforgettable icons Hollywood has ever produced. The gold chains, the mohawk, the muscles, and that legendary catchphrase, "I pity the fool," made him larger than life in the A-Team and Rocky III. But behind the tough guy persona lies a truth most people never knew. Mr. T has been a devoted Christian since childhood, and not even fame, money, or Hollywood pressure ever shook his faith. What truly sets Mr. T apart is the fact that he never hid his beliefs, not even in an industry that often discourages people from speaking openly about their faith. He used to say, "I came to Hollywood with Jesus, and I won't leave without him." That kind of conviction takes courage few stars ever show. In the mid-1990s, everything changed when he was diagnosed with cancer. Facing his own mortality didn't weaken him, it strengthened him. His faith deepened, his priorities shifted, and he began re-evaluating the life he was living. When he recovered, he didn't rush back to the spotlight. Instead, he became far more selective, turning down roles and appearances that clashed with his Christian values. He even stopped participating in professional wrestling events that took place on Sundays, saying it would be disrespectful to a day dedicated to worship. Imagine refusing big paychecks simply out of reverence for God. That was Mr. T. Rather than chase Hollywood fame, He turned his energy toward ministry. He visited churches, volunteered during disasters, comforted families in need, and even preached on Christian television programs. The man who once intimidated villains with "I pity the fool" was now spreading messages of hope, faith, and grace. Today, at 71, Mr. T continues to boldly share his beliefs through interviews and social media. He has said many times that he would rather lose fans than stay silent about Jesus. In his own words, "I never let fame or success stop me from being a bold Christian." Behind the gold chains and the tough exterior is a man whose true strength has always come from his faith, unshakable, unapologetic, and absolutely authentic. Prince's journey is one of the most remarkable transformations in music history, not because he walked away from the stage completely, but because he walked towards something far deeper. The man once known for his electrifying, provocative performances became someone entirely different. In 2001, Prince embraced the Jehovah's Witness faith, describing the moment as being born again. And this wasn't a passing phase. It reshaped his entire life. The same artist who once set the world on fire with sexually charged hits like Darling Nikki made a conscious choice to leave that version of himself behind. He stopped performing many of his most provocative songs because they no longer reflected who he felt called to be. Prince's change didn't stop at music. The superstar who once thrived on mystery, media attention, and bold controversy became intensely private. During the last 15 years of his life, he gave only a handful of interviews and stepped away from the Hollywood spotlight that had once adored him. And while the world imagined him living in luxury, Prince was doing something few could believe, attending Bible study meetings and even going door to door in his Minneapolis neighborhood, sharing his faith just like any other Jehovah's Witness. No cameras, no entourage, just Prince, humble, sincere, and guided by something greater. He kept making music, but with a new energy. His later work leaned into positivity, spirituality, and purpose. He still performed, but strictly on his own terms, avoiding award shows, skipping press runs, and rejecting anything that didn't align with his new path. In many ways, Prince didn't retire from music, he retired from fame. He chose faith over flash, devotion over headlines, and meaning over the persona that had once made him a global icon. When Prince passed away suddenly in 2016, the world mourned not only the musical genius who changed the sound of a generation, but also the man who dared to transform his life completely. His legacy is more than Purple Rain. It's the story of an artist brave enough to rewrite his destiny. Pebbles Reed wasn't just another name in late 80s R&B. She was a force. Fans still remember the smooth, irresistible groove of Mercedes Boy, and behind the scenes, she built an empire as the powerhouse executive who discovered and managed TLC. On the surface, Pebbles had it all: chart-topping records, superstar artists, money, influence, and the kind of industry respect most people only dream of. But behind the spotlight, Pebbles was fighting battles no one could see. The music business can be harsh, and she endured betrayals, pressure, and heartbreak that slowly drained her spirit. By 1997, during what she later described as one of the darkest chapters of her life, Pebbles experienced something she couldn't ignore: a deep, life-altering spiritual awakening. She felt God pulling her in an entirely new direction. And what she did next shocked the entire industry. Pebbles didn't just take a break. She walked away completely. No more recording. No more managing artists. No more fame, power, or financial comfort. She left everything behind and embraced a new identity: Sister Perry. In Atlanta, she founded Women of God Changing Lives Ministries, dedicating herself to Christian counseling, deliverance work, and helping people break free from addictions, trauma, and abusive relationships. Pebbles believed God had given her a vision that her ministry would touch millions of lives. And she committed to that calling with the same intensity she once poured into music. Her transformation was so dramatic that she seemed to vanish from the secular world overnight. No red carpets. No industry events. No comeback tours. The only moment she resurfaced in pop culture headlines was in 2013, when a TLC biopic revisited her complicated business past. From R&B royalty to spiritual warrior, Pebbles Reed's journey remains one of the most dramatic reinventions in music history. Al Green, the soul singer who walked away from earthly fame to answer a higher calling. Al Green's journey remains one of the most powerful stories in music history. At the height of the 1970s soul era, he was untouchable, the velvet voice behind Let's Stay Together, a global superstar with the world at his feet. In 1974, at just 28 years old, Al Green was living every artist's dream. Fame, money, awards, he had it all. But then tragedy struck. A sudden and heartbreaking loss shattered his world. His girlfriend died, and the trauma sent Al spiraling into grief. In the middle of that pain, something unexpected happened. A spiritual awakening that changed the course of his life forever. Almost overnight, Al Green announced that he was stepping away from soul music to dedicate himself to God. Imagine that. A superstar at his peak, walking away from the spotlight when he was just getting started. And he meant every word. That same year, Al purchased a small Memphis church, the Full Gospel Tabernacle, and began preaching. Over the next 5 years, the man who once ruled the R&B charts slowly slipped out of the secular spotlight. By 1979, he had completely abandoned mainstream fame, choosing gospel music and ministry over superstardom. Throughout the 1980s, you rarely saw him on TV or in magazines. Instead, you found him in church, preaching fiery sermons, lifting his voice in worship, and turning Sunday mornings into emotional, soul-shaking experiences. He sang with the same passion as before, but now, every note was aimed heavenward. And although he later collaborated on a few R&B projects, Al never returned to the glitz and glamour of his pop star life. He stayed rooted in faith, purpose, and service. Today, Reverend Al Green is still preaching in Memphis, still holding the same Bible he says saved his life, and still using that once-in-a-generation voice to praise God. He splits his time between leading his congregation and performing gospel-influenced concerts, always humble, always grounded. Al Green didn't just change music, he changed his entire destiny. And he proved that sometimes the greatest leap of faith is walking away from everything the world says you should be. Maze's journey is one of the most shocking and unforgettable detours in hip-hop history, a story so wild it still doesn't feel real. In the late 1990s, Maze wasn't just another rapper, he was the golden boy of Bad Boy Records. With hits like Feels So Good, a smooth flow, and a superstar image, he was living the rap star fantasy millions only dreamed of. Fame, money, charts, he had it all. But then came 1999. At the absolute height of his career, Maze went on MTV and did the unthinkable. He looked straight into the camera and announced he was retiring from rap. Not next year, not after one last album, right now. The hip-hop world froze. Fans couldn't believe it. A young platinum artist, walking away from everything? From millions of dollars, from global fame? It was unheard of. Maze told DJ Funkmaster Flex that God had called him, and he could no longer make music that went against his renewed faith. This wasn't a break or a publicity stunt. He meant it. And just like that, he vanished. One day he was everywhere. Magazines, videos, radio, and the next day, he disappeared like a ghost. No more concerts, no more interviews, no more bad boy energy. Gone. In the early 2000s, Maze reappeared in a completely different world, the church. He became an ordained minister and founded El Elyon International Church in Atlanta, devoting nearly a decade to preaching and spiritual leadership. While his peers were still battling for chart dominance, Maze was behind the pulpit, leading worship and building a congregation. Fame didn't tempt him, he was committed to his calling. He did return to secular music briefly in the mid-2000s and again around 2012, but the struggle between his faith and the industry was obvious. Each comeback was short, conflicted, and incomplete. Eventually, Maze stepped away from rap once more, returning fully to ministry and motivational work. Maze's story remains one of the boldest and most dramatic exits ever seen in entertainment, a young superstar choosing purpose over fame, faith over fortune. It's a reminder that, for some people, God's voice is louder than applause and more powerful than any record deal. Donna Summer. Her name alone brings back the glow of disco lights and the pulse of a golden era. Known worldwide as the Queen of Disco, Donna ruled the late 1970s with bold, provocative hits like Hot Stuff and Bad Girls. At the peak of her fame, when her voice dominated every dance floor and her image defined an entire generation, Donna faced a transformation that would change her life forever. In the middle of all the spotlight, the glamour, and the endless applause, Donna experienced a deep spiritual awakening. She became a born-again Christian, and suddenly the music that had made her a superstar felt like it belonged to someone she no longer was. She began to question her lyrics, her image, and the entire persona that the world had fallen in love with. The struggle was real and painful. Donna built a career on sensuality and bold expression, yet her renewed faith pushed her in a different direction. She admitted she was afraid of losing fans, but she couldn't ignore the discomfort she felt performing songs that no longer aligned with her beliefs. It took enormous courage to walk away from the very material that made her famous. And she did it anyway. Donna all but retired her breakthrough hit Love to Love You Baby, a song that once shook the world, because she now felt its sexuality clashed with her values. She shifted toward more uplifting, introspective music, even releasing a gospel-inspired album in 1980 that showed a different side of her artistry. While she never abandoned music, Donna quietly stepped back from Hollywood's wild party scene. She chose her family, her church, and a life of purpose over the constant flash of the spotlight. On stage, she often spoke about God, using her voice, not just to entertain, but to inspire. Until her passing in 2012, Donna Summer remained deeply committed to her faith. She believed her incredible voice was a gift meant to honor God, proving to the world that you can stay true to your calling without compromising your values. Which story surprised you the most? Tell us in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more powerful stories like this.